Welcome back, everyone. As you know, recently in Saratoga, we had a tragic fire. One of the historic buildings on Caroline Street, 126 Caroline Street, burned down. And over the last couple of weeks, as you know from some of our reporting, and if you've been in the city walking around Caroline Street, there was a debate about, gee, the whole building isn't down. Can we preserve the facade as part, let's face it, it's a historically significant building in Saratoga. And I think the jury's out on whether or not that could have been preserved. So we decided to get a couple of different opinions on it. And joining me today, somebody you recognize, a frequent guest here, Samantha Bosshart, who is the executive director. Is that the title?
Correct.
Executive
Director.
I might get it right
One
this
day
time.
you might get it right.
I never get this one right for some reason. Of the Saratoga Springs Preservation Foundation. So welcome, Sam.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Our studio in Saratoga is right around the corner from this building. And over the past couple of weeks, first the fire, of course, was devastating. Then going over there and looking at the damage, and then in the last couple of days, actually watching them take this facade down. I mean, you just feel like a part of you is being taken away. Now, you deal with preservation issues in Saratoga every single day. What was it like when you got that call that this building was in trouble?
Well, I woke up and saw on Facebook, that the building was on fire. And I, of course, was hopeful that everybody was safe and then walked down after, that morning to see what was going on, and relieved to see that the fire department had done such an amazing job containing the fire. Unfortunately, it really concentrated at 26 Caroline Street. So that day, I reached out to city officials to say that we were interested in seeing whether or not the building could be preserved, if at all possible, and if not the building, at least the facade.
Gotcha. Now, there's a process to that, right? I mean, you just don't go look at it, take a few pictures and see whatever. You need to bring in engineering, structural engineers, experts in the field. And you went right to work on that, right?
Yes, we felt like it was important for us to have an expert opinion. We hired Don Friedman of Old Structures Engineering out of New York City. And he is known nationally for his work with historic buildings, so we thought he would be an appropriate person to come up and look at this building. We hired him. He came up, and unfortunately the owner did not grant access to the interior of the building, so Don was only allowed to do an exterior assessment. But based on what he was able to see from the back and the roof, he determined that the facade could be preserved, and that he also expressed concern about, if demolition were to take place, how it could possibly impact the adjacent structures. And we certainly wouldn't want additional damage to those buildings.
Right, and those buildings being the one right on the corner that has apartments upstairs, and Hamlet goes downstairs, and the building on the other side is Sperry's, another historic building in Saratoga. Now, the city also hired an engineering firm. I think it was Ryan Biggs, right?
Yes, we actually...
And they came in, and I think they kind of concluded the same, right?
We actually offered to the city to contribute up to $2,000 to hire an independent structural engineer, because our engineer's report conflicted with the owner's engineer's report. So we felt that it was important that a third opinion be provided. And so we did that, and the city hired Ryan Biggs, and their report concluded that the facade could have been preserved and indicated that it could have been costly. However, no cost analysis was done, and the city did not pursue that avenue.
Right. So you can see there's some vagaries here. I think that might be the polite way to put it. Again, I have no experience in this at all, but it is right around the corner. And I went over yesterday and looked at it and whatever. The building has some real historical significance. 1870s, right?
Built circa 1870 for Charles H. Sturgis to be a tannery. It had some nice brickwork that was similar to that of the Adelphi Hotel. That's right, yeah. And later it was, I think many people in town would remember it as Palmetto Fruit Company, as well as Coronet Press.
Yes, that's right. I remember it as both, by the way, but Palmetto Fruit Company. I remember when it was that. And then in recent years, attempts to turn it into, one was like a comfortable kind of adult-oriented jazz club, and I think the living room was most recently in there. But once again, if you looked at the facade of the building, and when you look at a building like that, it's not a standalone. It's part of the personality of the block.
It's really an important part of the streetscape, and now we have a missing tooth, as you say.
Yes, right.
And it will be interesting to see what if anything comes in its place.
Now, the owners are from out of town. You know, an issue like this, you look at that and you think, damn it, you know, if they could have preserved the facade of this building and that streetscape, there are ways to do that. But as you tend to find out when you hit a wall on something like this, pun intended, I guess, you you know, you can't get it. But I really want to applaud you for getting in there right away and trying to save this building. I know you did your best.
We tried, and I think it's just unfortunate that the Design Review Commission, who is charged with protecting and preserving our historic structures in the city, was not provided an opportunity to comment on preserving the facade.
Yeah, I think some of that has to do with the fact that the council voted that it was an emergency. You know, once you get in that sort of wheelhouse, then all of a sudden things move very, very rapidly. And now we've got a hole in the middle of Caroline Street. I heard that they were maybe considering doing a 5-story condo building or something like that. Did you hear that?
I haven't heard from the owner directly, but there of course is always rumors on the street.
Yeah, right. And I think we should really just clarify that. That is a rumor, but I've heard it from a couple of different sources. By the way, your annual appeal, we're in the 12th month of that annual appeal, and I know many people really appreciate the work that the foundation does. So this is the time of year to, you know, go on the website, take a look around, see what they've done this year, see what some of the plans are in coming years, and donate, right?
Well, we can always use money to help do our cause, for our mission to preserve Saratoga. I mean, we have such rich and important history and architecture, and the loss of one building at a time could be detrimental to the overall character of Saratoga. So
that's right. Well,
any dollar helps.
I know you care deeply about it. Well, Sam, thanks a lot for taking the time. Happy holidays to you. And
happy holidays to you, too.
We'll be keeping our eye around the corner all year long.
I'm sure you will.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.